Today we're here with Dorothy Papadakos, and she is an extraordinary organist, one of my favorite in the world. We're so glad to have you. I was coming back from 9:30 at night from a late dinner. There was no one else on Nob Hill, and you could feel the whole top of the hill shake because you're in here playing the organ. It was so great. I know, it was really, and you were so bright and so welcoming when I got here. Well, we're so grateful to have you. You're going to be playing the organ for us for Halloween. And what piece are you playing? You know, you're going to be doing the silent film. How do you describe it to people who might want to come?
Oh my goodness, well tonight at 8 o'clock we are going to, it's the San Francisco premiere of my score of Alfred Hitchcock's The Lodger, which is the Jack the Ripper story, 1927. Malcolm, most people don't know, Alfred Hitchcock made silent movies. And this is his first hit film, and in his words, the first true Hitchcock movie. This is where all those quirky tropes that we all know and love started. Like the blonde in the bathtub, the use of his shadows, the first time he puts himself in a movie. It's really cool stuff.
And of course, Alfred Hitchcock is so connected to Grace Cathedral, and then Grace Cathedral was being built at the time this movie was being made, too.
Yes, he shot his last film, Family Plot, here.
Right here.
The bishop was kidnapped on the steps where we hear that whole scene was happened right here.
Well, it's so good to have you, and I'm so glad to have you back. Could you tell us a little bit about, one of the things I loved so much is, all the work that you did at St. John the Divine. And can you talk about, what it was like to be at St. John the Divine? I mean, it's such a center of American church life, like global church life.
Yes.
What are some of your memories of that time?
Oh, elephants, the Dalai Lama. I mean, just incredible Easters and Christmases with 5,000 people inside, St. Francis Day, Paul Winter, Nelson Mandela, state funerals for Carl Sagan and Duke Ellington. I mean, what an experience. I call it my second childhood. I actually, when I come to Grace Cathedral, feel like I'm in St. John the Divine West. I really feel home here because your organ is our sister organ, and your building with your gorgeous acoustic is like ours. And so I just love coming here.
Yeah, well, we love having you every time.
Gosh.
We love the energy you bring, and
Thank you.
It's great. I mean, I think it's been 10 years now that you and I have been, seeing each other at Halloween, so it's really fun.
And Rebecca and I started this, 17 years ago?
Yeah, that's great.
Isn't that something?
Rebecca's such an amazing person.
Rebecca.
Yeah, Rebecca.
Now Canon Rebecca.
Canon Rebecca.
Boom, boom.
Exactly. She's a leader of the cathedral. So tell me a little bit about our organ. Like, what makes it special? Like, in the visitor materials, it says somewhere that it's the 50th largest organ in the world. I don't know if that's still the case or what, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about what it feels like to play it and what makes it special.
Well, it's the tonal design and the marriage with the acoustic. It's when you have the perfect room and the perfect instrument, magic happens. And so the pipe cases are behind us on these sides, and then in the narthex. So you have 3D sonic creation going on. And up here, there's over 100 different sound choices that to play with. I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store here, Malcolm.
Oh, I love that.
And we always joke, organists who play here or at St. John the Divine, that even a mistake sounds beautiful because the acoustic is so forgiving and the tonal composition is just so spectacularly. It's really an iconic masterpiece of organ building you have here.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. It brings me to places like whole new worlds, like other dimensions,
Oh, it's incredible to hear you say that as the dean of a cathedral.
That's exactly. I mean, we're so lucky because I'm so close to it all the time.
Oh, I love hearing that.
Yeah, in my old church, I used to, on Thursdays, like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, when no one was around, I'd go and play on the organ.
Did you?
Obviously, I wasn't an organist, but I enjoyed playing on the organ as a piano player on the organ.
Are you going to come in and play on the cathedral organ?
I'm worried about breaking it.
Oh!
But tell me, how did you start getting interested in organ? Like, how did that blossom in your life?
Well, I grew up in Reno, Tahoe.
Oh, that's great.
Just over the mountain where I'm
I was
heading
just there
tomorrow.
for a funeral.
Were
a couple
you
months ago.
at Trinity Cathedral?
Yes, exactly.
That's where I grew up.
Yeah. Oh,
that's where I learned to play organ.
Oh, I can shut my eyes. I can see it right now.
Oh my gosh.
On that organ?
No, it was a 1970s electric organ. But I was a kid learning jazz piano in Reno. My teacher was a nightclub piano player.
Yeah, of course.
And I started to do improvisation, and then he died. And one Sunday I'm sitting in church, lost. I'm 16 years old, devastated. And I literally heard the organ going, like my ears open. And I'm like, ooh, I wonder what that's all about. And the Trinity's organist took me on as his only student. And the next thing I knew, on a Sunday morning, they had asked me then to become the 9 o'clock, I was playing guitar, 9 o'clock, the head of the folk group, and then play the 11 o'clock service. And then one Sunday morning on my way out the door, I turn on the TV, and there's St. Bartholomew's Park Avenue with their folk service back in the day. This was 1980, and I'm like, it was like one of those enlightenment moments from God. And I'm like, I need to be there. And I drove cross country, joined St. Bart's, and started playing there, and then heard Paul Halley's improvisation album from St. John the Divine. And I'm like, you can do jazz and improv on an organ, in an acoustic, and it all just came together for me. And so then Paul took me on as his protege at St. John the Divine, and raised me up from organ scholar to assistant organist to cathedral organist. First woman in history, and so God bless Dean Morton.
I know Dean Morton,
you know?
An amazing figure, exactly.
I once said to him, you're going to hire a Greek girl to be the cathedral organist? And he said, you are the most amazing improviser, and you and Paul Halley and Paul Winter make magic. That's why I want you
love
here.
organ improvisation. It's so important if you think about it, like to move anything in the cathedral and you have organ music playing on it. And yeah, it has to all be made up at the spot.
Exactly.
And it, nothing. It's like it would almost be like having bricks without mortar if you couldn't do the improv, because you have all these spaces that you'd be able to see through the building, and people don't realize how important improvisation.
Interesting. What a lovely observation.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that, like, I can, Reno and Nevada, I mean, the tourist industry there, in Maui, Hawaii, there's an interesting musical scene there because they are playing for the tourists. So they're way more professional musicians, per capita than in an ordinary place. And so it does, you develop your own, like, kind of regional personality. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about just, like, how much Nevada has, like, influenced you as an artist, and in terms of getting you launched as a destination where millions of tourists go every year.
Oh yeah. In fact, one of the main reasons Paul Halley hired me to be his organ scholar and assistant organist and then bring me into the Paul Winter concert, he said, because you can read samba charts, Dorothy.
Oh, I love that.
And that's
great.
because in Reno, I was studying jazz, and I started as a teenager playing fashion shows and gigs around Reno, playing Duke Ellington, Cole Porter, George Gershwin. So the luck of growing up in Reno in the club scene, the jazz scene, the show scene, Frank Sinatra. As a kid, my mom knew Liberace, and we would go to his shows every October for my birthday.
Oh, I love that.
I got to meet him. I got to have dinner with him between shows. I mean, Reno transformed my musical language. And when I got to Julliard, I'll never forget, there was this very austere Israeli piano keyboard teacher. His name was Dr. Baruch Arnon. And his whole thing was improvisation and reading Baroque bass charts and transcribing orchestral charts to piano. And that for me was a snap because of my jazz training. And I remember him once saying to the class, all these piano students were just frozen in fear. And I'm like, I love
on the page.
And he said, remember, in improvisation, there are no wrong notes. And so I succeeded there and at St. John the Divine because of Reno.
Because that childhood. So, I mean, this is kind of wandering far afield, but you're also a writer. And I wonder if you can talk about just how these, like, two different creative parts of your life, like, how did you discover that you were a writer, and tell us a little bit about the connections between the two.
They're actually, I think, similar in that the books are very spontaneous and when I'm writing the characters. But I noticed, this started about 10 years ago, that kids and climate change, there was this huge fear factor, doomers, terror, and that kids couldn't quite wrap their minds, I'm talking 7th graders, around climate science. And I thought, what if there was a way to make climate science accessible to kids? And then the idea came, why don't I write a story of climate change from nature's point of view, and Sir Wyndham the North Wind and all his friends in the kingdoms of the Four Seasons take the kids to meet all the superheroes in nature that are working in land and sea and sky 24/7, to keep Earth in balance.
Natural processes.
And now the first book's been turned into a STEM school
I love that.
curriculum.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What fun. I mean, you're going to be better read than almost any adult author, because that's the place where people really read still.
Oh
Do you
my
mean
goodness,
read
kids books.
in a way
yeah.
that like 30-year-olds just aren't reading quite as
Oh,
much.
so it's a joy. I just finished Kingdom of Winter was first. I just finished the Kingdom of Spring, which is all about soil. And now I'm starting the Kingdom of Summer, which is all about the oceans. And then the grand finale is Kingdom of Autumn, about the forests. And those are the carbon sinks. The books are the 4 carbon
Oh
sinks.
my gosh, it's so great.
So it's a thrill, and I'm learning a lot about our planet and how we all interact with it, and how it sustains us, and we need to be stewards.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And we just have to have it at the forefront of our consciousness.
Absolutely.
And how we design industrial processes, the plastics we use, everything. We have to change everything.
Do you know about the mushrooms that eat plastics, Malcolm?
Yeah, I have heard about the
It's
mushrooms.
incredible.
It
It's a
is incredible.
star in book 2.
Oh, great.
Yes.
I can't wait to read book 2.
Yes.
Well, Dorothy, it's such a pleasure to have you here in San Francisco again.
Malcolm,
Bless you.
dear.
And do you want to make
Thank you.
make some sound on this so we can hear it just once, and then
How
we'll.
about a
and then
little
we'll-
spooky music
Spooky
opening
music would be
tonight?
great,
Can
just
I,
like-
can I play loud?
You can play as loud as you want. Let's make the whole place shake.
Oh, I don't have my organ shoes
That's
on,
okay.
but it'll be loud. Let's see what happens.
I didn't warn you.
It's okay.
That's what people come here for. My name is Malcolm Clemens Young. I'm the Dean of Grace Cathedral here in San Francisco, California. I'm here with Dorothy Papadakos. Thanks for watching More Good News.
Thank you. Happy
Yay.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween.